Hi, Matt with eTrailer, and today we're talking about the Malone Roof Rack system on top of your 2021 Toyota RAV4. This is going to be a great entry-level option for you if you're looking at carrying a lot more items on top of your RAV4. Since you do have a lot of space in the back anyways, this is going to help out a lot with that, especially if you need to carry anything like a kayak. So let's take a closer look at it. Today we have raised rails, so that's not super common for the RAV4, so just make sure you have raised rails yourself. A good way to check is just come by the top of your vehicle and check out your rails, and if there's a gap underneath them where you can stick your hand under, just like this, then you got raised rails. Now, if you need any help with finding what's going to be the best option for you, just go onto our website, plug in your vehicle information, and find out what's going to be the best fit for you. The system we have today is going to be comprised of two parts. The first part is going to be our 50-inch Malone crossbars, and under that we're going to have our towers too. So taking a closer look at the crossbar, we're going to have this T-channel at the top of it, which are great for your T-channel accessories. And along with that, we're going to have this weather strip that's inside of here. And what's really nice is this one, you don't have to cut down the size to accommodate for other accessories, so it makes using this a lot easier. It's also going to help reduce wind noise and any debris from getting in here too. Another thing that's going to help reduce wind noise is going to be the shape of the bar too. We're going to have Aero bars. That's just going to make riding with this a lot more nice. And then we're going to have the towers underneath that are going to connect to this T-channel underneath your crossbar. And how this is going to work is this is going to tighten down around your rails on either side, giving you a very secure fit. What I really like about this too is it's going to have these lock cores on them, so it's going to prevent anyone from coming by and taking your crossbars right off. And something to go along with the tower too is if you take this end cap off where the lock is, you'll notice we have this Allen key that's built onto here. And that's going to be your included tool to tighten down your towers. That's really nice that it's built in, so it's really hard to lose. Now a caveat off of that though is when you're trying to tighten these down, your crossbar gets in the way, so you have to work with it a little bit. But it is really nice that it's hard to lose. Now we can get some measurements. So starting for the height, what's going to add to your vehicle, from the top of our rails to the top of the crossbar, that's going to be a little bit under 2.5 inches. So what I recommend doing is taking the total height of your vehicle, plus your crossbars, and then if you put any accessories on top of that, include that as well, so you know what areas you can make it under. And then for the overhang, that's going to be from our tower to the end of our crossbar, just about 6 inches, which isn't too bad. You're not going to be likely to hit it with your head, but it's going to be great if you have any accessories that you want to put on the very end of your vehicle, anything like a kayak, so it's a lot easier to access your accessories too. And as far as what you can put up here, you're going to be able to use this T-channel to use any of your T-channel accessories. You can put clamp-on accessories on here too, and you're going to be able to load this up with 165 pounds. Now, a couple things to go off that. First, now these are more entry-level bars, so I recommend making sure you disperse the weight pretty evenly so you don't get any dents on these. And another thing too is checking what your roof is rated for and then going from the lowest rated component. Overall, I think this is going to be a great system. That's going to be a lot of bang for your buck, because we're going to have a lot of premium features built in. You're going to have those lock cores on there. The tools that you need for this are built in as well, and it has that T-channel. Now, one of the downsides is when you are putting your items up here, make sure you disperse that properly, because there could be some dents that occur. But if you're not going to load this anywhere near the max weight capacity, I think you're going to be just fine. As far as the installation goes, it's pretty straightforward, but if you need a hand with it, then I'll walk you through. To start off the installation, we're just going to lay everything out. So we're going to have our crossbars, the towers that go along with them, and then we're going to have our end caps with the lock cores on them, and one of them is going to have a tool or an Allen key built onto it. And what I recommend too is just grabbing a measuring tape, just make things a lot easier for you. First step is when we remove these end caps, just pulling them off. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to get off. Just set that aside. And you can actually put both the towers on from one side instead of taking both end caps off. All you have to do is make sure they're facing opposite directions. So you want them to look just like this when we put it on here. sliding it on through this channel at the bottom. And then I'm going to push that all the way to the other side. And I'm going to put on the second tower. I want to make sure it's in the opposite direction, making sure this bolt is facing out. We want to make sure our clamp is loose too. So you're just going to loosen up that bolt at the very back of it. And make sure you have plenty of room to put this on your raised rails. After that, just make sure you grab your end cap, put it at the very end of here until it clicks into place, lifting up your crossbar, making sure it's in the right orientation, this thicker side facing forward, thinner side behind us, and we're just going to roughly place it on top of our raised rails. And you'll probably also notice we already have our front crossbar on here. The process for both of them is going to be the same though. Now we want to make sure everything's going to be evened up. So how you're going to do that is measuring the distance from your rear crossbar to your front crossbar to make sure it's going to be the same on both sides. And when your crossbar spread is the same on both sides, we want to check an overhang. And the way we're going to check that is by going from our tower to the end of our crossbar and then checking that both sides have that same overhang. The way you can adjust that too is by grabbing your tower and either pushing or pulling on either side. Using your included tool, you'll then tighten this the rest of the way down by tightening that bolt. Now this can be a little tricky because you do have that lock core at the very end of this, so you will have to do some adjusting. But then you'll just go back and forth, tightening either side until this is all the way tightened down. And once this is tightened down all the way, you just take this and line it up with the holes on here till it locks into place. Just grabbing your included key and locking it down the rest of the way. And just recommend giving it a good shake test. Make sure nothing's moving, you got a good hold on it. And if you do, then you can put on whatever accessories you have. That's just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Malone Roof Rack system on top of our 2021 Toyota RAV4.